campaign. Mayor Duterte, speaking of him, voting right now, he had just fed his ballot into the vote counting machine and apparently waiting for the receipt to come out so that he can check if the votes that he cast are the ones that the VCM just read. Live pictures straight from Davao City Mayor Rodrigo Duterte, the presidential survey frontrunner, casting his vote. He is the last presidential candidate to cast his vote today. Earlier, Jojo Binay, Mar Rojas, Grace Poe, and Miriam Santiago had cast their votes earlier in the day this morning.
We're expecting a surge of last-minute voters at President Corazon Aquino Elementary and High School in Quezon City. You can see crowd swelling on almost areas in the polling center. Long lines of voters make some alleys at the polling center impassable. A number of vote counting machines malfunction, adding to the difficulty of voters. School Principal Elvira Dumlao says less than half of the 37,000 registered voters came here this morning. This means that the other half of the registered voters is expected to pack the voting area in the remaining hours. Dumlao is hoping the Commission on Elections would extend the voting period by at least an hour. At exactly 5:01 p.m., school gates will be closed and those only within the vicinity will be accommodated. So make sure that you make it on time. Pia.
Rex, can you tell us, do you have an idea how many VCMs in that school, in the Corazon Aquino Elementary School, were having problems?
Can you repeat your question, Pia?
Rex,
Sorry.
can you tell us how many VCMs were having problems in that school? A while ago you said there were some VCMs na nagkakaproblema. So how many were they?
Yes, Pia, there were 4 VCMs who malfunctioned this morning out of 49 precincts. These VCMs were fixed by Smartmatic officials. However, there were at least 2 other VCMs who malfunctioned after those 4.
Situation here is much calmer now, far from the chaotic scene we saw earlier when Mayor Rodrigo Duterte arrived here to vote. This is the precinct here. This precinct behind me, as you can see. We still have about an hour to go before the polling precincts close, but already Boy Scouts here are already helping clean up the classrooms used. Poll watchers are also starting to fix the classrooms here earlier. I know you saw our videos earlier when the mayor was here, Pia. Again, it's the biggest crowd they've seen here in all elections, and the mayor himself said he's not surprised. After all, he is a candidate for president. It's his constituents who are here, and he said it's just natural for them to gravitate towards him today. And amid reports of malfunctioning machines, supposed errors, and ballot receipts, he says he's really just not monitoring the situation. He says he'd rather let COMELEC, the military, and the police handle these things, which he says is beyond his control. He said, Pia, and I quote, I don't worry about it. I don't have money anyway, so why worry about it? Now, Pia, let me just stress to you, share with you just how chaotic the situation was earlier. The crowd, if you were stuck in the middle of the crowd, you practically didn't have any control over your body's movements anymore. You'd be just going along with the flow of the many supporters here who wanted to see the mayor who could be the first president from Mindanao. Pia, and the crowd was just so rowdy. I saw someone lose a slipper, my earring fell, I saw a magazine of one of the security personnel here fall to the floor, which could have been dangerous. Of course, we had to help them actually pick it up. One of our colleagues fell to the floor and her foot slipped through the canal outside the school. So it was really just that chaotic. And once the mayor left, Pia, you know, people just really started going home. And now we understand the mayor is on his way, or could now be at the Mandaya Hotel, where the monitoring center for the media they set up is, and I believe he will be delivering a press conference there with her colleague.
Yeah, more than 10 vote counting machines have reportedly broken down since the start of voting hours this morning in Zamboanga City. At a precinct in Barangay Zone 4 in Zamboanga, members of the Board of Election Inspectors have allowed voters to fill up the ballot that are set aside and to be fed later to to a replacement machine. The province does not allow the voter to see a machine-printed receipt which reflects the candidate the voters have voted for. Broken machines, meanwhile, result in wrong queues of voters lining up outside the precincts. The breakdown in machines are often caused by paper jamming. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa Oxon, for that report from Zamboanga. Again,
A gunfight erupted between supporters of opposing mayoralty candidates in Barangay Pangot in Lagayan, Abra at around 7:30 this morning, leaving one dead and two others wounded. Police reports identified the victim as Manuel Zacarias, a Barangay Tanod. Injured were Joel Donato and Randy Viloria, son of Barangay Chairman of Pangot. Immediately arrested were Rodel Villa, Carlos Donato Almazan, Rochelle Donato, and Merly Cabangon. Seized from the suspects were 1 caliber 38 pistol long barrel, a caliber 45 pistol, a 9mm caliber pistol, and a caliber 22 handgun. Further investigations are ongoing. Elections in Pangot were transferred to Barangay Poblacion under heavy military security. There are 5 candidates for mayoralty position in Lagayan: Judel Cristologo, Jendrix Luna, Aguinaldo Ruben, Anita Shares, and Bernie Sibayan. The Crisologo and Luna clans are longtime political rivals with a history of violence and intimidation. The entire Abra province was placed under COMELEC control because of intense political rivalry, reports of harassment among political candidates, and vote buying. Lagayan is among the 5 towns closely monitored by PNP Cordillera, along with Piligan, Tineg, Dolores, and Langid and Abra. For CNN Philippines, Carlson Lapniten.
thank you, Carl Lapnitan, reporting from Baguio City.
Show the box containing the Consolidated Canvassing System, or CCS laptop, to the parties and their councils.
Very good.
Perhaps we can call the councils who are appealing this afternoon.
Check, mic, check, mic, check.
Parties and councils to approach and see the CCS box, which contains our CCS laptop. The plastic box is sealed with 2 plastic seals, self-locking plastic seals. Please come over to see that it is really locked. We will call on parties and councils. Please make of record that councils and parties are approaching to observe the plastic box containing the CCS laptops.
Walang babae, oh. Walang babae.
Lock? It's locked. Self-locking plastic seals. May I request Your Honor to break the seals?
Authority granted.
We now turn over to the CCS operator, the plastic box, and he will explain to us the process of the
Canvas.
and describe the contents of the plastic box.
Okay, this plastic contains the checklist inside this plastic container, including the passwords and the tokens to be used in the canvassing. Also some peripherals to be used, the CDs and the card reader. The this is the extra LAN cable for connection to the transmission device. And in case something happens to the cable. And this is the mouse to be used. And this is the laptop to be used as the canvassing system. After the validation nung sa prelat, dumaan po siya sa QA, and then yung mga nag-validate po. Then they check kung kompleto yung seal, then nilock na po. Ito po yung laptop na gagamitin, labeled as the NBOC COMELEC Board of Canvassers Election Day Kit. And then the extra toner cartridge, the copy papers, also the printers, the printer to be used. So the remaining inside the box is the extension cord and the extra bond paper.
We are showing the plastic bags. It contains nothing anymore. Okay. Again, we request the parties and councils to observe the initialization of the CCS, but to keep a certain distance enough to ensure the username and passwords entered by the member.
It's interesting because Attorney Chris Ablan, who is with Chairman Andy Bautista and COMELEC, was saying he had posted on his Facebook page that let's not forget to say thank you to the teachers, because ang dami daw nagtatanong sa kanya, no, anong gagawin ko when I get to the precinct, how do I put my ballot into the VCM, wait for the receipt, ganon. Then sabi niya, and then he would say, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, A, B, C, D, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But at the end, can you say thank you to the teachers?
People forgot that when you say BEIs, those are teachers.
Teachers.
Everybody calls them COMELEC, but those are teachers who did not really volunteer, never really had a choice, but it's part of their duties. Because at the end of the day, they're one of the most trusted public servants in our country, and they do this job. And it's time to really give them credit.
Right. And since they are the teachers, the BEI are the teachers there, most possibly the voters there know them also.
Yes, in a local community, especially in rural area where you normally know the central school, the elementary school. So you have to give these people credit, really. We at times forget that majority of these people are teachers, just being deputized to help out COMELEC.
That's right, Pia. COMELEC Chairman Andy Bautista just a while ago made the announcement that for those precincts that opened at 9 in the morning or later, they will be allowed to extend polling by an hour. So instead of closing the voting at 5 p.m., they will be allowed to take it all the way to 6 p.m. The question there is that enough to accommodate all those voters that have lined up? And according to Bautista, these precincts were able to catch up and able to accommodate those voters who have had to wait a long time. So he says they're pretty confident that at 6 p.m., if they close the voting, no one will be disenfranchised, at least those who are within a 30-meter radius of the polling precinct.
To ask first about that report about a hotel in Cubao where supposedly there were some VCMs that were reportedly found there. I know that Chairman Andy Bautista went over there. What happened to that? Is that case closed or what?
Well, What I got is from Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, and she is quoting COMELEC NCR Director Attorney Temi Lambino, who says, according to the Philippine National Police, no vote counting machine was found at Novotel Hotel. Also, Chairman Bautista went to the place, to Novotel, and he says he also found none. Guanzon pointed out that their inventory of vote counting machines is intact, and they would know if any single one of those machines is not accounted for. And she's saying right now all the machines are accounted for. So she even used the term kuryente, which is what we journalists use, the term we use for stories that turned out to be false. So she's saying that story was kuryente. It is not true that there were vote counting machines at the Novotel Hotel.
Or that came from PPCRV, right, Jace? But anyway, very briefly, just like 3 sentences, explain to us what's going on behind you.
Well, behind me now, the Commission on Elections is convening the National Board of Canvassers. 5 of the commissioners are here, and what they're doing right now is they're initializing the canvassing and consolidation system. That is a laptop in which basically it will display the results of the elections. Of course, that will not happen until the vote counting machines begin transmitting after the polls close. But what this is the official opening, the ceremonial opening of the canvassing. Pia.
All right, thank you very much, JC Gotinga. We're going to be landside. But wala bang epekto yung, well,
it didn't have
itong
time.
What alliance?
What alliance?
What alliance? The non-united alliance.
Disunited alliance.
I think for me, I saw it as a strategy on the part of the Liberal Party. They saw something to build a certain momentum towards the last weekend without realizing they were misreading the polls. They were reading the summary of the polls, not the breakdown of the polls. And it was good that Pulse Asia allowed itself to explain where these numbers are coming from. And I think on the part of Senator Grace Poe, I think her premise was, why will I talk to you guys when your mind is set up already that I'm the one who should step down?
But could they have been thinking that if you have a big number of undecideds and soft voters, were they also hoping that those numbers might swing to them?
But the challenge is, diba, in the last survey also, Senator Poe was the second choice. She's the highest second choice voter. So I think if there is any alliance to be made, then it has to be Senator Poe being the official candidate, because the data supports it. Although, of course, we can notice how the Liberal Party is trying to set this up. They're saying that Mar Rojas is on a steady climb. He had 2% bump. Of course, we can say that it's still within the margin of error. If we look at the broader trajectory of Secretary Rojas's survey performance, it's kind of flat, hovering around the 20%, whereas Senator Poe at some point was the front runner. So, of course, these are all kind of irrelevant now since the polls are closing. But I think in retrospect,
in hindsight,
if they really wanted an alliance against Mayor Duterte, it could have happened much earlier.
Much earlier. Like 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And then it could have happened behind closed doors?
No, first it should have happened behind closed doors. For me, last weekend was still strong enough or good enough because I've known how machinery works. But you don't give it to the lesser candidate because it's it's better to put it on a stronger candidate, especially in the geographic area where you can beat Duterte, which is National Capital Region, and gain more, or in Luzon, where Rojas was kind of weak. But the premise was the Liberal Party can deliver their machine. They just need to neutralize the number 2 in the polls, or number 1 in Luzon, which is the biggest voting bloc. I'm quite surprised with their analysis, really. And if the president really wanted this unity, he could have defined this unity by getting the 2 together.
Maybe because he did not say who he wanted to withdraw in whose favor.
My analysis there, it's possible that he has been briefed by the Liberal Party, and this is our last card. So he came into that not all secure. So it was, maybe it's meant to be that, you lose that card.
Kaya nga we're trying to well, I can tell you that there were about 2,500 precincts that called in saying that there was a problem with the machine. But some of these problems were immediately fixed. So we don't know how many would fall under the 9 o'clock rule.
Sir, pero yung mga polling centers na magko-close ng 5 p.m., does it mean na diretso pa rin sila ng transmission to the municipal level?
That's correct.
Elementary and high school, and voting has just ended. As you can see, the gate is already closed and people are already making their way out. It wasn't an easy day. School officials are expecting to have at least 80% of turnout. They say this is higher than in May 2013 midterm elections, which shows the renewed interest of people in terms of Philippine politics and increasing their political maturity. Now,